Hannington Parish Church of St. Peter and St. Paul stands on raised ground in the middle of the village, and as much as it was more than 700 years ago. It is almost unique in Britain, with two massive pillars in the centre of the nave supporting well-proportioned high arcades. This unusual arrangement of double nave probably owes something to the fact that when the church was built in the middle of the 13th century, the parish was in the care of the Gilbertine monastery at Sempringham in Lincolnshire. The huge priory church was used by nuns and monks, canons, separated during worship by a central dividing wall running the length of the church. The first rector of Hannington is believed to have been a Gilbertine canon. Just east of the church, an area shows signs of a medieval settlement which appears to have consisted of enclosures or paddocks, formerly part of the village itself. Hannington was mentioned in the Domesday Book, and it is of note that the parish was then much smaller than most settlements in the area, as it continues to be today. The church, once a major part of village life, was built in the late 13th century, though it incorporates some stonework from an earlier period. At the time of construction, the church was in the gift of the Gilbertine Order of Sempringham in Lincolnshire. It has been suggested that a monastic cell existed in Hannington, and also that when Archbishop Thomas Becket fled from the king and the General Council in 1164, accompanied by Gilbertine canons, he stayed overnight in Hannington. There is no documentary evidence to support either belief. It is believed that Becket left St. Andrew's Priory, Northampton in the evening and was in Lincoln the following day. The delicate medieval screen now enclosing the vestry was originally placed across the arch separating the chancel, occupied only by the priest and assistants, from the nave, used by the people. The oak pulpit is of similar age. In 1562, Thomas Godwin became rector of Hannington. In the same year, he baptized his baby son Francis in Hannington's church. The Reverend Thomas left to become Dean of Christ Church, Oxford, and eventually Bishop of Bath and Wells. His son Francis became Bishop of Hereford and wrote the first science fiction novel in the English language, The Man in the Moon, a fascinating read with amazing predictions. By the mid-19th century, the church had fallen into a serious state of disrepair and was little more than a ruin, but thankfully in 1869 the building was restored to its former glory and a new rectory was built alongside it. The person responsible for this was the rector, John Downes. He personally paid for the restoration and for the building of the rectory, now called Hannington House. John Downes is perhaps one of the village's most notable past residents. A graduate of Cambridge University, he studied botany with Professor Henshaw alongside Charles Darwin. It is believed that Downes had been offered the position of botanist on HMS Beagle, which he declined, as his vocation was in the church. He then went on to become a parish priest. This role of botanist was then taken on by Darwin. But John Downes is famous in his own right for his work, and from time to time Hannington receives visitors interested in his background. There is a memorial to John Downes, his wife, and his daughter in the church in the form of a stained glass window in the east wall. Clearly the church would have been at the heart of village life in Hannington. However, since 1954 the village has shared a vicar with the neighbouring parishes of Walgrave and Old, and more recently, Scaldwell. I really do hope that you have enjoyed this aerial presentation. Please subscribe to the channel so that we can keep you updated on other aerial videos shot in and around Northamptonshire and further afield. Subscribing is free and it really helps the channel to grow.